Quark recently released QuarkXPress 2026, and I want to show you some of the favorite new features I'm seeing in this new version. I do want to let you know that my name's Kevin Siegel. I am the founder and president of Icon Logic. I'm a certified master trainer, certified technical trainer, and I've written several books about QuarkXPress. You can find me on Amazon.com, and I'm a former member of the United States Coast Guard. Here's what I'm going to cover during this session. First, when you start QuarkXPress, you're going to see a new welcome screen, and that's going to lead directly into a discussion about workspaces, which I really think is going to be helpful. Now, I'm no mathematician, but when I need to add math equations to my QuarkXPress projects, it has been a difficult slog. I think you're going to love math equations. We're going to cover ImageGrids and how that's going to really help you create projects with lots of images in them. The paste into function, quite possibly my favorite feature. I also love paper color. And if you stick around to the end, there's an exclusive preview coming. So the first thing I want to talk about is this welcome screen. Over on the left, you've got 4 categories. You've got Home, New, Recent, Resources. Check out this slider for recent updates to the software, tutorials, that kind of thing. Click these little dots to move between the offerings. You got this workspace drop-down menu, which I'll show you in a minute, and any recent projects you've worked with will show up here. I want to focus on the New tab, so I'll click that. And by default, you've got 4 presets. If the icon has a QX next to it, those are presets given to you by Quark. You can make your own. So normally, if I go to the File menu and choose New and choose Project, I have to define such things as the page size, the margins, the column guides, etc. I'll press Cancel. What Quark has done with the 2026 edition of QuarkXPress is they have found 4 common layouts that people use, and they've bundled all those settings in. So I'm going to click Book as an example, and instantly, nothing to think about here, nothing to worry about, my document is set up with very common properties. Now, if I want to take a look at the properties, I'll come up over here, Control-click, and choose Layout Properties. And you can see the specifications that have been set up for me, the 6x9, the margin guides, etc. I'll cancel that. I'll close the document. I'll click Magazine. Notice the column grid. Notice the layout properties. All right, cancel that. Close this document. Here's newspaper. And here's trifold brochure. Now, as I mentioned, those are the 4 most common. But of course, you can make your own preset layout, and here's how you do it. So I'm going to go to the File menu. I'm going to choose New, Project. I want this to be a single layout mode. I'll change the margins to 0.75. Number of columns, 2, with a 1/4-inch gutter. And before I click OK, at the bottom left of my screen, I'll click Save as Preset. And I'll call this Kevin Layout. I'll click OK. I'll click OK. The document gets created as I expected. I'll close it. And what I also have now is my personal layout. I'll click it, and instantly I get that document set up. I'll close that. If you don't want a layout, all you have to do is right-click it and delete your layout. Note that you cannot delete the layouts given to you by Quark. I'm right-clicking them and nothing's happening. Now I'm going to make a blank project. Click OK. And I'm going to go to my window menu and I'm going to choose palette sets. And I've made one called Kevin. And when I do, notice that I've added the math equations to my workspace. And if I go back to window and choose palette sets, default, this is the default workspace. I'm going to close the document. You'll notice that there's a workspace drop-down menu now. So if I click this drop-down menu, workspaces are available before I create the document, right there on the welcome screen. I love that. If you've never made a workspace, let me refresh your memory on how to do that. I'll make a brand new project. I'll bring up a palette. So from the window menu, I'll bring up index. I'll position the index palette exactly where I want it. And then I'll save the palette set. So window, palette sets, save palette set as, give it a name. I'll call this Kevin 2. Click OK. Now from the window menu, palette sets, I've got Kevin. I've got Kevin 2. And of course, through the welcome screen, those palette sets are available here. All right, I want to transition now into math equations. And I said at the outset, I'm no mathematician by any stretch of the imagination, but I have had clients who have wanted to show equations in their projects. Now, as an example, perhaps I want to show the Pythagorean theory, and I don't want to have to bring in a screenshot of it. I actually want that theorem in my project. Well, QuarkXPress supports both LaTeX and MathML, and I'll put that theorem in using LaTeX. So to do that, I'm going to go to my window menu, and I'm going to choose Math Equations. I'm going to insert a math equation, and I'm going to paste the theorem into my math equation window. And I'll use this icon here to add it as an expression, and then I'll place it. Now I'll show you why that's better than bringing in a screenshot in just a second. But I'm going to use the same method now to put in some MathML to show compound interest. So I'll put the insertion point here, press my spacebar, insert a math equation. I'll paste it. I'll add it to the expression preview. I'll place it. Now the reason this is better than simply putting in a screenshot of the equation is that I can select the equation and edit it right here within QuarkXPress. So I'll select the equation with my item tool. On the quick access bar, I'll bring in my math equation editor. And I can make changes right here without having to leave QuarkXPress. I'll cancel. Also, I can change such things as font size or the font color. again, without ever leaving QuarkXPress. Now I want to show you how to use the image grid feature. This feature has been enhanced from previous versions of QuarkXPress in that now when you apply the image grid, anything you have on your master pages is added to the document as pages are inserted. Now I want to show you what I have going on in this very simple document, and I'll show you my master page. I've added this header up at the top of the page, and at the bottom I've added a footer with a page number. Okay? Real simple. Back in my QuarkXPress document, page 1, the header comes in from the master page, and the bottom of the page, the footer's got the page number 1. Now I've got several images already on my computer that show a trip that I took recently to Rome. And I want to have them all come in automatically, positioned perfectly, and pages added to the document as needed. This is the perfect use case for, from the Utilities menu, ImageGrid. I can specify any size I want for the images. Box size 2 by 2 is perfect. I'm going to set them up as a fixed size. I'll choose this box shape right here. When the pictures come in, I want them to stretch to fill these boxes, each 2 by 2 box. And I'm going to tell QuarkXPress where the folder is that has all these pictures from Rome. So I'll click Process Folder, click Choose. Now, QuarkXPress is now scanning that folder, adding the picture boxes as needed. QuarkXPress is going to fill these boxes with images and add as many pages as needed to account for the images. How cool is this? Now you'll notice I'm on page number 3. As I scroll up, the master page content has been added to these pages. You can see the page numbers there and the images from Rome text box that I added. And let me do that again. I'm going to revert. So File, Revert to Saved, and OK. Utilities, Image Grid. This time I'll change the image size to 3 by 3. Fixed size. Use a slightly different box shape. Select my process folder. Choose it. Process has completed. That is a bucket of awesome sauce. It is quite possible that this next thing is my favorite QuarkXPress 2026 feature. It might be my favorite feature ever. So if you see my screen here, I've got a QuarkXPress file, and I'm trying to build a poster, and I want to combine some of the images that you see off on my desktop in the middle of that empty SVG graphic. Now to pull this off, the graphic that you're trying to use as your parent has to be empty. So this image has got a yellow border around it, so it's going to work great. And what I want to do is combine one or more images into this background. So I'm going to right click this cityscape background, and I'm going to copy it. You could also cut it. And I'm going to right click what I'm calling the parent background. And there's an option here to paste into. Now, this can get a little bit clunky the more images you try to put into the parent, because if I paste into again with another image, it's possible that I'm going to replace the city background. So you see the general shape of my parent, that kind of a square shape. That's going to prove important in just a second. I'm going to choose Paste Into. And this is so cool to me. I love this. Sort of like I'm using Photoshop, but I'm not using Photoshop. That city background is in that shape. And I'm going to hold down my Command key, stretch the graphic, and it's filling up that background beautifully. I love it. Now, if I want to move the middle of the picture so that that tall skyscraper is more on the left, I switch to my picture content tool, come over to my child graphic, and move the background to the left like so. So these two shapes are being treated very much like a group. And do you see that I've got two bounding boxes now? One surrounding the original picture, the parent, and one is now the big picture in the background. I'm going to switch to my item tool. And my goal now is to paste this picture into the parent. So I'm going to right click the picture here. I'm going to choose copy. I right click the middle of the picture. And what I've actually selected now is the child or an item inside the group. If I choose paste into, I've just replaced the background image with that picture. So I'm going to undo that, pressing Command Z. And I'm going to click away from the entire group. And I'm going to try to click on the picture. And you can see now that I've got the actual parent selected and its child. So I've got them both. Now, if right-clicking paste into somehow selects the child, you'll replace the child again. So you got to be careful here. I'm going to right-click, paste into, and now that young lady is inside the group as well. And I'm going to hold down my Command key, and I'm now moving her down and to the right. I'm going to do this one more time with the taxi cab, but I could keep going. I'm going to right-click the taxi cab and copy. I right-click the picture, and I happen to have the group selected, so this is going to work beautifully. You see I've got the multiple bounding boxes now. Right-click, paste into, hold down my Command key, and I'm moving the taxi cab. I love it. Now if I want to send the taxi cab behind the young lady, I switch to my picture content tool, deselect everything, click on the taxi cab, right-click, send and bring, send backward. You can do some incredible combinations of special effects using this feature. So when you get an opportunity, jump right in and test out that paste into. I love it, I love it, I love it. Okay, so if you thought the paste into feature was the pentultimate, and I should have just stopped right there, I got two more things. And all right, they're probably not as cool as paste into, but I still think they're really helpful features and worth showing. One is paper color. The second is variable fonts. Now that paper color feature, I'm going to show it first. And I had a client some time ago who wanted to use this really wacky paper color, and I was trying to convince the client, don't use that paper color, it's going to be hard to read. And I was trying to simulate that paper color because I knew the specific color using an older version of QuarkXPress. And I had to go to the master pages and draw boxes to simulate the paper. And at the end of the day, it worked, but it wasn't super easy to demonstrate that paper color. So along comes QuarkXPress 2026, and we now have a feature called paper color that would have saved me significant work had this feature existed not that long ago. So let me show you how it works. I've got a document here, Any document will work. And I'm going to go to my colors panel. And do you notice all the colors that I have? One of them in parentheses says paper color. Now this feature will be identical in a digital file, except it'll say page color and in parentheses, so I know what color has been defined as my paper color. And all I have to do now to assign a color as my paper color is right click and choose set as paper color. No need to go to the master pages, it's instant. And okay, that sounds like a simple addition, but I find it to be a super addition to QuarkXPress, and I'm really happy Quark added it. Now, if I want to change the paper color, I right click, another color, set as paper color. Do it again, and on it goes. Make a note that if you PDF this document, the paper color is ignored. Send it to your printer, paper color is ignored. If this is a digital file and you output for the web, the paper color stays. So now you've set your background color for your web pages. Okay, so that's paper color. I love it.
And now, drum roll please, I'd like to introduce you to variable fonts.
And that's a single flexible font file that's going to let you as a print publisher adjust things like weight, width, slant, instead of switching between different fonts. Really is going to give you a lot of creative freedom. I'm going to highlight this headline here. I'd like you to notice the font that I'm currently using. And if I take a look at my quick access bar, got the name of the font, it's bold, change the font size. If I go to the font drop-down menu and I go to the menu options for the font, you see all my options here to change the appearance of that font, right? I'm going to change the font to a variable font. The font that I'm using is called Roboto Flex. And just so that you know, in case you've never used these fonts, it's a Google font. It's free to download, available for Mac and PC, super simple to install. It took me just a couple of seconds. And what I loved about this is I didn't even have to quit out of QuarkXPress to get that font to show up. I just installed it. So now that I'm using a variable font, I want you to notice a couple of differences here about my options. First, there's this icon right here, the A with an underline. That is a visual indicator that the font that you're using is a variable font. Now I'll undo applying that font. You see the icon disappears. Go to the font drop-down menu again and reassign Roboto Flex, and the icon comes back. That icon is really important. If I click that icon, you can see the options that show up. Now, using these sliders here, I can change the appearance of such things as the size, the slant, the width. I don't have to change the font family. Everything's happening through these controls. Now, depending on the font that you download, the types of options that you have called axes is going to be different. Do you see that I've got an option here to show hidden axes? I'll click it. And suddenly, the number of things that I can do to this selected text grows significantly. Give this a try. Download these fonts. Again, they're free. This is Roboto Flex from Google. Take a look at the options. Play around with it. I think you'll find that you're going to have control over your layouts like never before. Okay, so that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed this presentation. Here's my contact information. Once again, my name is Kevin Siegel. Look forward to hearing from you if you'd like to send me an email, or you'll find me on LinkedIn. Take care now.